Good morning. It's me, Pearl from Pearl and the Prayers, and this is Tuned In Tarot, and we are here to take a look at the balance between the divine masculine and divine feminine energies inside of ourselves, understanding that whatever state we find this energy in, we can expect to see reflected back to us in our outside world. So we can learn things about people from our environment, but really we're just seeing our own energy. And if we want to shift our experiences, we have to begin by shifting and changing inside of ourselves. We have the lovely accompaniment of the garbage truck and the helicopter together today in the beautiful orchestra that is inner city Los Angeles. So enjoy that background music, which I don't have to pay for. It's just free. It's really nice. Um, the music today was crazy, so I'm gonna say it and not leave it out like I usually do. But if you don't follow me already or you don't know about this channel, I got started by shuffling cards to music and then reading messages in tandem with the lyrics. And so that's like a big part of what I do. Although, because of licensing issues, I rarely get to share that part of it with you. But one of the ways I do that is on my Tuned In Tarot page on Instagram. I will put the time lapse of the shuffle that I do in the mornings and the songs that play during the shuffle. And then I may mention them. Today I'm going to because they were so appropriate. Um, Divine Feminine had Shadows in the Rain by the Police, which is just kind of like she doesn't know what the fuck is going on. She wants somebody to explain this illusion. She understands that there's something there, but it's just shadows in the rain. How can you explain? Yeah. So Divine Feminine is like, what the fuck is happening? Divine Masculine had two songs come up, but I put the second one because it was so applicable. The first one was Deirdre from the Beach Boys. Um, the trouble you had, it wasn't so bad. It's only life and what you're living for. Sit down right here. I'll send away your tears. Well, we don't have to talk about it much more. Good things turned bad, but it's over now. So don't look sad because you're older now, whatever. It's like, don't you think it's time that you stayed right near me? So it's basically like, come back to me. And then you like me too much, which is though you've gone away again. If you don't know this Beatles song, I'm sad for you. But though you've gone away this morning, you'll be back again tonight, telling me there'll be no next time if I just don't treat you right. You'll never leave me, and you know it's true because you like me too much and I like you. You've tried before to leave me, but you haven't got the nerve. So Divine Masculine is feeling a little smug today. Like, you're mad at me and you're going to leave me, but you're coming back. So that was the energy and the theme of today's reading. Divine Masculine is going to go first today because all of his cards were showing. Divine Feminine is overthinking and overfeeling today, so get ready for that. I think Divine Masculine is actually pretty balanced. So, woohoo, you can have a reward today for being. Oh, nope, you're overthinking. Sorry, I retract your award. The really interesting thing is the first thing on both of your minds is the same exact thing. Love that, especially because of what it is. Top of the deck, overall feeling of the headspace for Divine Masculine is the 10 of Wands. So he's very burdened. He has this heavy responsibility and he's exhausted and he really, really, really wants to unburden himself and put this down and stop carrying it around um, on his own like this. So this is a 10. So we're heading towards completion here. He's like, I get it, Divine Feminine. I understand why you've gone away, but I know why you're going to come back again. And it's because of the same reason that I do too. And he's ready to unburden himself finally and give this rather large communication to Divine Feminine. Oh, interesting. My hand slipped on the card and it shot another card on top of the first one. We'll have to revisit that when we go to Divine Feminine. A niggling thing in the back of Divine Masculine's mind is the Nine of Cups, his wish fulfillment. So when you get the Nine of Cups in your spread, whether it's upright or in reverse, you are going to get your wish. In this case, Divine Masculine wishes to unburden himself. So he's going to be able to do this. He's going to be able to finally speak what's in his heart, finally express what has been causing him to withhold, because we're seeing some withholding, or him thinking about having done that. So he's wanting to end the confusion. And so he's going to get this wish. He's going to be able to do this. The niggling thing is also just this little bit of guilt over this attitude that he has had, which has been very selfish, right? Very protective, of course. He's always doing with this intention of protecting, because he has been frequently in some kind of danger, emotionally or sometimes physically, throughout his life. So he's really done overtime, like as a security guard for everyone around him, and is always trying to keep everything safe, right? That's the burden, that's the responsibility. So what seems selfish is really selfless in his mind, but it ends up being selfish. So this is underlying what he's thinking about. He's really wanting to be able to share now what is in his cups, to have this wish. He's achieved personal fulfillment, and he wants to be able to communicate everything, all of his wishes that he has put in those cups, which will inevitably bring us to the 10 of Cups, right? The completion, the spiritual fulfillment. First thing on his mind, also the first thing on Divine Feminine's mind, the 7 of Cups. Divine Feminine's got a different energy than Divine Masculine, but they are in union and mirrored to each other, and also in union in this regard. For Divine Masculine, this 7 of Cups, which is from this beautiful Ethereal Visions Tarot, has this interesting image of this individual holding up a mask to their face. And of course, we have the memento mori, the skull in his hand. My dad loved Shakespeare when I was growing up, and I could quote from it when I was a kid. He would put me on a bar stool, have me sing and quote from Shakespeare. He's a Pisces. What are you going to do? And I loved Hamlet for some reason when I was a kid. And so this, of course, I think of Yorick, oh, poor Yorick, alas, poor Yorick, I knew him well, right? And this is when Hamlet finds the skull of Yorick in the grave, he begins to contemplate life. And that's when he goes in the to be or not to be speech about whether or not to kill himself. So the 7 of Cups is a card that normally shows, we're going to look at Divine Feminine since this is the first thing on her mind, and she has a little bit more traditional imagery for hers. So traditionally, we've got 7 cups with a lot of things in them, and we have a person that's looking like they're choosing. There's a silhouette of a person looking like they're trying to choose something. It's about options, opportunities, confusion. It's about having created a lot of fantasy and not being quite sure exactly what you're going to get when you make your choice about the options, etc. For Divine Masculine, though, it's about him choosing to unmask himself and reveal some of the deepest secrets and things that and fears and anxieties and things that he has kept hidden and hoarded away in order to protect everyone. And he's thinking about how he wants to pull this mask off and stop doing that and stop being also confused about how to proceed. That's another thing he's thinking. He's no longer paralyzed, unable to make a choice about how to go forward, because he's now finally in the King of Wands energy. So this is a man of action, someone who's going to do something, and someone who's going to communicate, right? Communicate, and with what his passion is, what his desires are, and communicate about why he's been withholding them. We'll see that in a minute. But for sure, he's made a decision to take the mask off, to stop wasting time trying to figure out exactly which way to proceed forward. He's not interested in other options or other opportunities. He's not pursuing other partners. It's none of that. He's made a decision. He's going to take action. He's going to communicate. He's going to unburden himself. This is what he's thinking about doing. And he's thinking about telling the truth. This is the Ace of Swords, being very clear and very direct and taking a good hard look in his own mind at his own reasons for his delays, for his withholding, for his overprotective energy. But he has a new idea. This is a new divine masculine energy, to be not an indecision anymore and prepared to take action. This is new, and he wants to take action towards his future. Interestingly, following the Ace of Swords is the Knight of Swords in reverse, which is clarifying the Seven of Cups in reverse. So this is what has been difficult for him to look at within himself. This is what has taken quite a long time, right? If the Knight of Swords was upright, we would see this swift forward motion, this chivalry, integrity, ready to bring the truth in. We're also seeing a younger energy, right? It's not the King of Swords. It's a less mature energy. And he follows a strategy that is laid out for him, but he doesn't create the strategy. He's just like following the strategy that the King and Queen of Swords implement. So what we're seeing is this unmasking that he is wanting to do. This is what has taken him so long. It's been very difficult to see himself unmasked. He wears these masks for himself because they cover up this, right? All the other Seven of Cups, they have like a cup with a snake in it, like temptation. They have, some cup that's got like a reptilian reference in it. But this one is overwhelmed by this nasty looking creature. And this is like all of the fear that divine masculine has amassed in regards to, I think, his past. And I feel like he feels like this is what he's been covering up. Like this has been inside of him. And for a long time, he felt like he had to cover this up. This monster that was part of like his like overthinking, his anxiety. It's like his fears, his worries, the things that plague him. And they come from his past for sure. It was really difficult for him to look at that inside of himself, much less explain it. It was like divine feminine is asking him, why? And he's so frustrated because he's like, I don't know. And he knows that he can't say that to her and have her be like, oh, okay. So you tortured me for this amount of time because you don't know, right? He knows that there's more to it than that. That he wasn't fully honest with himself about why he was withholding his desire, this Ace of Wands. But as he's started to unmask, as he started to uncover these fears, he's realizing that he's always just been protecting divine feminine from the things that he couldn't even look at in himself. But the King of Wands knows how to wield this Ace of Wands. He also knows how to suppress it when he needs to, right? Because this is like sex and sexy energy, right? Like so divine masculine wants to take action and communicate, but he wants to do it from a place where he's controlling his passions. He doesn't want to withhold this desire anymore either. He wants to take action to stop withholding from himself. he realizes when divine feminine is asking him why, and he doesn't have an answer for her, he's also doing that to himself. Like his own self is like, why don't you just drop this burden? And he's like, I don't know. This new idea, this Ace of Swords, the truth, this is clarified by these two things. The Two of Wands in reverse and the Moon in reverse, which is revealing what has been hidden, unveiling these secrets. When the Two of Wands is upright, you don't know where you're going. When the Two of Wands is reversed, it's time to arrive. Like it's time, and you have a sense of where you're going now. The path has been revealed to you. So divine masculine wants to unveil the path to divine feminine and unveil why there's this slow progression, why the truth doesn't come quickly, partially because he doesn't know himself, which he's afraid to tell her. That he's been trying to withhold the sexual energy because he wants to have much more of a solid relationship, not an immature relationship in this Knight of Swords energy, but one that's more developed and consistent and stable, and not just about physically connecting. He wants a much deeper, more passionate connection than that. And so he's going to reveal to her where they're going and what these secrets are. He understands in his headspace that he has to do this at this point. It's really cruel not to, is what he's feeling. The heart space agrees. Top of the heart space, top of the deck, to match this 10 of Wands, the 10 of Swords in reverse. So when we unburden ourselves, we end the painful separation. All of these wounds that have been inflicted by the separation that was imposed upon the divine couple, in order for them to heal these wounds that they received from one another, from triggering one another, and the time for being stuck and pinned down and held back by these wounds and thoughts and betrayals and all these kinds of things, these fears and anxieties, it's over, right? We're unburdening ourselves. We're ending the painful separation, the niggling feeling, the Ace of Wands, right? His heart's desire. And it's underlying all of his feelings that ending the separation between the two of them is what he desires most in the whole world, right? First thing up for him is Temperance in reverse. This is clarifying the 7 of Cups. So we're looking at his beast here. He is someone who struggles with balance. Now, divine feminine can relate, right? They're a mirror for each other. So also struggles with moderation, is a little bit too extreme, has to, it's good and it's bad. Like personally, my need to be like because I'm extreme, I became extremely good at music because I was extremely dedicated, because I have to, but I'm also extremely hard on myself, and I don't feel like I'm extremely good at music because I am extreme about it. I must be the best, right? I can't just enjoy smoking weed. I have to only breathe it. I can't just I have issues with moderation. So does divine masculine. And this is part of the beast that's been carried around with him. This card is also about healing and about resistance to it or allowance. It's about having had this healing experience. For divine masculine, this confusion that he feels, being stuck with all these options, not knowing what to choose, not really feeling like he's capable of making a choice sometimes. This is the energy that he really needs to heal, indecisiveness, which comes from perfectionism and just some sense that you're going to lose love, you're going to lose adoration, you're going to lose attention, you're going to lose if you make the wrong choice or if you don't come off the right way. And so this is something that he's really needing to heal, because this is what keeps him in this indecisive energy. His heart is really aware of this. He needs to allow this healing of feeling like he can get it wrong, like, babe, you can't get it wrong kind of an energy. King of Wands, clarified by the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. So we see him feeling like he's had a lot of bad luck that has prevented him from being able to take action. But he's starting to understand that this destiny, right, wasn't really bad luck. It was part of that process. It was part of the divine journey. But because of the feeling that these things happen that are out of his control, he's resisted his destiny and tried to take control of it. This is where he's hit his head against a brick wall a lot and caused the stagnation feeling that would happen, because he was resisting his destiny and feeling like he just had a lot of bad luck. But it was his resistance to his destiny that was causing the bad luck, if that makes sense. The new thing he wants, the truth that he's going to talk to Divine Feminine about, the Hierophant in reverse. So past commitments, past legal contracts, past rigid belief systems, authority figures, whatever shadow that can come from this Hierophant, this is the truth that he has to reveal to Divine Feminine. He has to tell her his destiny, his fate, his temperance. These are all of the things that have kept him from being able to take action he's feeling, the fears that he's had, the worries, and it's been in regards to these past contracts, these controlling entities of some kind that have blocked their ability to have their own sacred union here in the present. And it's been something that he's been struggling again with. So this is part of what is encompassed in this Ace of Swords and this truth that he wants to reveal. There's all of these cards are in reverse. So his whole heart space is in reverse, except for the Ace of Wands, which is interesting. Knight of Swords. Why is it taking me so long? Because it's taken me a really long time to release this attachment to external validation with this Four of Pentacles energy. Taken a long time to release external validation and needing financial stability, indecision, intemperance. So probably a little too much indulgence, right? Especially with the Nine of Cups, we've got like kind of a selfish, self-indulgent stuff. It's been really hard for him to tell Divine Feminine, like, so I don't have any very good reasons. Like, when I tell you my reasons, you're going to be like, wow, okay, well, that was unnecessary. And he knows that. He's really afraid of that. He's really hoping Divine Feminine is going to be more understanding, but he's not that understanding of himself, because he's like, he took too long to see these truths about himself, that he cared so much about what other people thought, that he cared so much about how he appeared and how he looked to Divine Feminine, even though the whole time she was like, I don't care. He was like, no, she does. She says she doesn't care, but she definitely cares. So I'm just going to keep doing what I'm saying, even though she's telling me to stop doing that, because I know that she does really care. She doesn't. This Ace of Wands that's being withheld is clarified by the Page of Wands in reverse. So we see that the suppression of excitement, like, don't get too excited. it was also this feeling that he wasn't young enough. Like there's a bit of a feeling here of like he needed to be younger or appear younger or feel more innocent, maybe because his innocence really was kind of lost in this as like from a very young age. And so he felt like not quite capable of allowing himself to have what he desired. Like he was too immature on the one hand, but then in his age too old to be able to appear this immature to someone. So it made him feel really kind of foolish. And then finally the world card is in reverse. With all these reversals, it's funny. He's ready to take action. He's ready to tell the truth. The aces will not leave him. He's really wanting to just communicate, make an offer, whatever it is. But there's a resistance there still because everything had to come out. We couldn't see the light version of this. We had to see him work through the shadow of it. And so there is still this resistance. It's like we don't see the 10 of Pentacles and the 10 of Cups. We see the 10 of Wands and the 10 of Swords in reverse, which is good, but it's still like, wow, tough energy for Divine Masculine. So he has the World card in reverse because it's not over, right? This is his feeling of like, until he reveals what has been hidden and acknowledges this journey that they're on, this situation between them is not over. And we are waiting only for Divine Masculine to drop this burden to see a completion. And he's also feeling just like the song that we heard today. You know, Divine Feminine might be like fucking pissed at me and like not wanting to wait around and shit, but like it's not over, right? There's that. Okay, Divine Feminine, let's look at you. You had all but one card showing, and you also had some overthinking in your head and overfeeling in your heart. So you're thinking, you're feeling all the things. Top of the deck for you. Overall headspace for you. You're 10 of Pentacles in reverse. So you're like, I can taste it, but I'm holding it away from myself. And I know how I'm doing it. With the niggling thing in the back of my mind, which is impatience, the 3 of Wands. I can't have it because I'm impatient for it. I'm impatient for it because I feel very uncomfortable. Clarified by my heart, top of the heart space, which we'll get there. But Divine Feminine is not comfortable at the moment. She can see clearly what would make her happy in the material world, her material fulfillment. She sees the house, the car, the person, the 2.5 kids, the dog. For me, it's a husky or 2. I don't know why. That's an insane thing to want, but I'm insane. I'm insane. We've established this. She knows what this is. She can taste what this is. But she keeps having to release her attachment to it because the attachment to this is making her feel this impatience that's underlying everything in her headspace. And it's very difficult to manifest something you're impatient for because you're impatient for it because you're afraid it's not going to happen. And you'll tell yourself, no, it's not that I'm afraid it's not going to happen. It's that I'm afraid it's not going to happen for like a long time. And you're like, okay, well, so if you believe it's going to happen, but not yet, why does that make you so impatient? Because it's going to happen. So the only reason you would feel urgency is if you felt fear of receiving or keeping it. So you're still afraid. So you're annoyed and you're having to think all the time about like, okay, well, what the fuck am I attached to that I need the glue? And so you're impatient with yourself. You're impatient with divine masculine. You're impatient with God. You're impatient with the decisions. You're impatient with the entire situation because you were like, it just doesn't make sense. Haven't I learned? Don't I know? Didn't I figure this out? Don't I understand these lessons? Like, why then, sir or lady or whatever the fuck, is this still happening to me? Why? And you're doing it to yourself by that very feeling. And then you know that, and then you're even more frustrated. And then you're like, I can't. And so the first thing on your mind is the same first thing that was on divine masculine's mind as we saw earlier in the reading, the Seven of Cups. For divine masculine, we see him no longer confused, hiding himself, being lost in his fantasy, not sure what to choose. For you are really chafing at not knowing what to do. You don't know what to do. And it's such a frustrating feeling. You have to choose to do something, though. So you're choosing what you're going to do. Even though you're confused, and you don't know what's going on, and you don't know why any of this is happening, or what for, you are choosing not to be afraid. This Nine of Swords that was in reverse in your headspace yesterday, it is still in reverse in your headspace. And you are still not afraid. You are not sabotaging. You are not letting all of these anxieties, fears, and worries bleed in, creep in, keep you awake every